All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 445 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. And today, I want to do a preview of, the Georgia Southern Coastal Carolina game. But we're looking at this storm here. I don't know what's going on as far as information. Haven't heard anything as far as information. So I'm going to just talk as if the game is still going to be going on. But at the same time, I got this on the screen if you're looking at it. Shout out to 10 Tampa Bay. Those guys, the news organization that actually have their stuff on as far as the live stream. And I'm watching it right now, and as of right now, it looks like it's going to be moving into the South Carolina area. So if you're looking at this on the YouTube or Rumble side of things, you will see that the storm is on the screen, and I'm watching it in real time. It is live at the moment. So we're going to talk about this. It's another reason why I kind of delayed the show, because I usually have the show up earlier in the morning, but I wanted to make sure I get some information on it beforehand. So this storm will impact the game in some form or fashion, but we don't know. I haven't seen anything related as far as delays or whatever, or the game being pushed back. I think they're going to try to push it through, because I think by Saturday the storm should be gone. We're just gonna have wet conditions, so we're going to see how all that goes. We're going to play and see how it plays out, but at the same time, I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on this game as if it's still going to be going on. So if this is your first time here, welcome. This is the First and Frame Rate Show. I talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And Georgia Southern has been doing pretty well so far when it comes to football. I think they've done a phenomenal job at keeping things at bay as far as playing decent, solid football. I think the UAB game is the only game where we look kind of shaky, even though we kind of made it competitive. But when you look at what happened in that game, UAB just ran all over us. So we bounced back with the Ball State game, and we stopped the run for the most part. We didn't make it as effective for Ball State as it could have, and we ended up getting a pretty good solid win. And so now we're going up against Coastal Carolina, and I'm looking at the numbers on this game, even though that is a 10-point spread now as far as ESPN goes. I think it's been as high as 12. And what we're looking at here is a very similar team. As far as numbers go, it's a very, very identical team that we're looking at. I think when you look at the comparison between Kyle Van Treese and Grayson McCall, the numbers are a little bit skewed a little bit because we pass the ball more. But as far as everyone else, the leading rushers on each team and also the leading receivers on each team, they're very, very similar. So what I'm looking at, for the most part, this game is basically going to be a situation where it's going to be mostly going to be home field advantage. The fact that they're playing in Conway is really going to be the difference. Coastal Carolina, I don't think they're as good as they've been in the past, but they're still a formidable team. They can play some ball. They can get some guys open. They play some pretty solid defense. So with that being said, we're going to have to find a way to play our A game and find a way to beat these guys. Points per game are very similar. We average 39.8. They average 37. Points allowed is 26.8 for us. They allow 26.3. Total yards, 509 yards that we have, 458 for them. Passing yards, 322 to their 258. Their rushing yards, 187 for us to 200 for them. So it looked like they are a little bit better at running the ball than we are, but we're better in passing. Yards allowed. Now, this is the thing. Now, this is something that we need to curtail a little bit, and this is where we fall. Yards allowed, passing is 214, which is absolutely phenomenal. That is really good in college, believe it or not. But we give up 215 yards rushing. That needs to change. Now, for Coastal Carolina, they allow 274 yards passing, which bodes well for us. But they only give up 96 yards rushing, which is absolutely phenomenal. When you look at this situation with Coastal Carolina, they're going to try to stop the run. And one thing about Georgia Southern nowadays, we don't run the ball as much, so we do have a passing game that's pretty formidable, so that does favor us. But this is the big issue with this. We're probably going to be playing in the rain. It may be bode well for us to try to run the ball more, but that ball may be slippery. It may be a little bit wet. So we need to find a way to protect the ball, even for them. They need to find a way to protect the ball as well. It's going to be a pretty tight game. I don't think nothing really going to stand out to be where it's where one side's going to be dominating the other. This is going to be a really drag out game, and for both sides, even though they have Coastal Carolina as the favorite, I think Georgia Southern, if they play anywhere close to how they played with Ball State, we could do some things, because if we can stop the run, it's going to be pretty difficult to try to stop Grayson McCall. And I'm not even sure. From what I hear, he's supposed to be good to go when at game time. So I'm just going to just put out there just to say that he's going to be playing. But even though those other guys that are on this team, they're about just as good as Grayson, if not, I ain't going to say better, but they're just as good as Grayson McCall. So we're just going to be preparing for them for the most part. I think one thing about us, and I don't want to jinx it, I think, Jalen White and what's his name? Oh, Gerald Green. I think they do a pretty good job of protecting the ball. They've been doing that, their entire career. Not saying that that it's not going to happen, because when the raining conditions are out there, you don't want to run the ball a lot because the ball can be stripped. But at the same time, if you can establish the run game and weaken these guys, you can get some pretty good success, because the defense, they'll get tired really quick not wanting to tackle anybody in the rain. I mean, I could say easily by the second quarter, these guys will be like, you know what, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure if that's the game plan. I really feel that Georgia Southern is going to continue to try to do some good things in the passing game, especially when they know that their passing game for Coastal Carolina is not the best. Their pass defense is not the best. So we're going to try to pass the ball a little bit more. Now, I ain't going to say a little bit more, but as normal. Now, what does this really mean for the passing game? I think the passing game that we have is pretty potent. I think we'll be able to do some things even in these conditions the way that they are, even to the point where we should be almost on point, if not slightly below what we normally do. And even if we're slightly below what we normally do, that's still a problem for a lot of defenses. You have to understand, we throw anywhere between 300 to 400 yards a game. So, I mean, that right there doesn't bode well for any defense. And for them to have a below average pass defense, that could go well for us. Now, what I want to say with that, what we can do with this sparingly, if we can get the defense to stretch out for Coastal Carolina, we can get some situations where we can run the ball in space. And I think that's one of the best things you want to do. You want to try to run the ball in space to where you can get some yards in the open field and not try to fight for more afterwards. Just get down after you get 4, 5, 6, 7 yards. Because if the best thing you can do is just try to get as much yards as possible, but while protecting the football. Now, another thing about the running game with Georgia Southern, we like to run in space. So there are times when we run the ball, nobody touches our running backs. You see what I'm saying? You look at the Nebraska game when we was able to run. You even look at the UAB game when we was trying to run. Those guys, when Jalen White got in the open field, nobody touched them. And you're less likely to fumble the ball if nobody touches you. So even in the rain, if we can get those spread runs where we can get in a situation where nobody touches our running backs, we can run the ball pretty effective and get a home run ball. But the way we have to do that, we have to set up some form of passing. Now, I also expect to see a lot of screen passes, bubble screens, some pump fake passing where you pump fake the screen and go over the top with on the outside. I kind of see that. I don't expect to see too many back shoulder throws. Maybe you may see a few slants. Maybe that's going to be a little risky. Outside throws are fairly safe. If you want to throw towards the sideline, that'd probably be the safest bet, because the ball going out of bounds is almost like your friend in some of these situations. Even though you don't want that many completions, you would want that to happen. So this could be a situation where we just gonna have to play safe football. Coastal Carolina has some guys. I mean, even with Beasley, their running back, he's ran for 345 yards on 60 carries. He only have one touchdown, which is kind of odd, but he has, the ability to run the ball fairly well. So we're going to have to try to contain that. I think our guys up front, Bullard, Dylan Springer, Justin Ellis, Christian Varner stepped up big time. So you got a lot of guys up there who's been hell bent on tackling and stopping the run. And even though that Ball State got over 100 yards rushing with their running back, their running game was not as efficient as you would think it'd be. It wasn't as efficient as the Nebraska game, or definitely wasn't like the UAB game. Hell, even if you want to go far back, the game against Morgan State, that running game was actually their bread and butter. That's what kept them in the game. So this is a situation where you would want us to continue that trend, to try to get on these running backs and not let them get far. Find a way to limit that. Make Grayson McCall beat you, with his arm and in some cases even with his legs. Try to make him do that and live the fight another day. So everything under that umbrella could be the catalyst for them, because I do believe that our secondary has been doing pretty good. Even though if we can make them one dimensional, we just have to play a pretty good defense. You don't want them to run the ball on us. And that's one thing. Just like I said, the running game could be key even in this type of weather. It still bodes well no matter what kind of weather you're in. If they can run the ball, they can control the game. Look at the UAB game. So even though just because you feel like it's, even though it's a rainy or wet conditions, that doesn't mean we don't have to defend the run as much. I still feel that we need to be on it as much as possible. You know what I mean? So this is something we need to really, think about. And I want them to try to pass the ball, because in those conditions, passing the ball is not ideal for either team. And if they could pass the ball in these wet conditions, we can also get better opportunities because the ball will be in the air. So we're just gonna have to go with that and see how it goes. If you're looking on the screen, you see where this you see where this storm is going. It looks like it's going to go right there in between Charleston and Horry County. Myrtle Beach. It's going to be in between those two areas, and it's going to be tough. Hopefully, by what they're saying on here, by Saturday, it looks like it should be passed on to the point where it still will bode well for us to play the game. I don't know what we're going to do that Friday, though. If we're going to get in town, how's that going to play out? Because, yeah, we'll be able to get there, but it'll probably be late, because once Saturday comes, it's going to be towards the North Carolina area. So it's going to be kind of past Conway. So it looks like, from what I'm seeing on the screen here, it looks like the game is probably going to end up getting played on its scheduled time. It may be delayed a little bit. It still has it here at 4 o'clock. But I could see probably being pushed back to 6, maybe 7. Because by the time on Saturday in the morning, well, I say it because you look at it on screen, it's Saturday a.m. It should be in the northern part of South Carolina, near the North Carolina, South Carolina border. So if that's the case, 4 o'clock may be ideal for the game to be played. So like I said, this is one of the reasons why I have it on the screen, so you can see what is going on with the storm at the moment. Is right outside, is right on the Florida coast, on the the eastern side of Florida coast, and it looks like it's going to take that turn back up into South Carolina, and that's going to be pretty problematic. I live up here in the South Carolina area, and we're just going to be looking at a lot of rain. Hopefully, it's nothing like really severe or anything for the area where I live, but it looks like right now 8 a.m. in the morning is going to be in the Conway, South Carolina area. So if it's get there at 8 in the morning tomorrow, which is Friday, you're really going to see how it's going to be as far as damage or water or flooding. How's that going to look? But the day after, it looks like it's supposed to be in the North Carolina area by Saturday morning. So it looks like this may be going on. This may happen. So just wanted to give you that update. Wanted to let you know what the storm looks like. Give you a little preview of what I think this game is going to be about. Mostly, this is a really even team, honestly. Georgia Southern is still bouncing back from a rebuilding year pretty much. Coastal Carolina is pretty much established. It's one reason why they're still undefeated, and they've been doing good for the past few years. But with the team that we have, I think we're going to continue to surprise a lot of people. Then we're going to be able to do some things where some people are going to be looking like, okay, what's going on here? You know what I mean? So we're going to continue to do that, and hopefully we'll come out with a win. And anything change, I'll do a update video on the YouTube channel to let you guys know what's going on. If this is your first time here, once again, welcome. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is episode 445, Georgia Southern at Coastal Carolina. This is the preview. We're going to continue to monitor the storm and also give you any updates on what's going on with the game. Looks like the game probably going to be played on Saturday at 4, maybe a little bit later than that. Depends on the weather. Looks like it's going to be pretty good to go. So if anything changes, we'll definitely talk about it there. And I'm going to get up out of here. Thank you guys for the support. All the links are down in the description if you want to support. The Patreon's down there where I do an extra episode every weekend. I just did one recently on Jalen Hurts. Hopefully you guys will check that out if you want to support. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy. Y'all be blessed. Peace.